Hi, my name is Allison. I'm a psychic medium and a farmer. This is day 3 of milking my cow on TikTok. Today I'm going to tell you a story about my first intentional telepathic communication experience. This experience happened about a year ago, September 2024. It involves my maternal grandmother, who has now passed. She had had a stroke, and she could do blinks and a little bit of head nods, but all of her communication for the most part was eliminated due to the stroke, and she also had dementia, so it was very, very hard for anyone to communicate with her. By this time for me, I had had about a year of my spiritual awakening. I knew I had these abilities, but I had no idea how to use them, be in control of them. It was more of me just waiting for something to happen. But when one of my aunts asked my grandma if she wanted to have me visit, she nodded her head yes, so I booked a flight and went to Missouri, where I was born and raised. And while I was at the airport, I was looking for or thinking about ways of how I could help with communication, and realized, I think telepathy is kind of like the psychic thing, and I wonder if I can learn how to do telepathy. So while I was at my gate, I typed in how to do telepathy with someone. So I watched the video, I took some notes, I kind of, not practiced it, but ran through it when I was on my flight from Connecticut to Missouri. And then when she was there, I asked my family members if I could have some alone time with her. I provided them some relief so they could, they had been with her around the clock. She was in skilled nursing. So I just took the evening to hang out with Grandma. When I did this, I have some headphones that I put in to cancel any noise out. And I have a track, it's like a pineal gland track on Spotify that really hits home and helps me focus in when I've got a lot of distractions. So with telepathy, a couple of important points. We communicate to each other with feelings, pictures, videos, emotions. When we communicate with language, it's a very limiting, that's the most limiting way of communicating. Anyway, what I did with my visuals, with my feelings, with everything besides actual words, is communicate to my grandma that it was okay to let go. We knew that it was her time, and we were all encouraging her and supportive of her decision, and to not be afraid of death. She was very, very afraid of that. And so what I did is I envisioned her, I needed her to understand that there were energetic cords tying her here, and it was okay for her to let go. She was a very conservative, very religious woman, so this was very new to her, and so I wasn't sure if this would even work or how it would be received. So when I closed my eyes, I imagined, I saw her. It's not that I chose this outfit for her, it's just what appeared in my mind in the beginning. And it was her in her light blue house coat, and we were in her kitchen when I was a child, before it was remodeled. And I opened up the drawer, her silverware drawer, and this was a very old knife, like a little paring knife that she had used 100,000,000 times in her lifetime. Again, she was a very fearful woman, so I was trying to find things that she was comfortable with and that wasn't new to her. So I explained, telepathically explained to her that you can use this knife, you know how to use it, you've sliced 1,000 peaches and 1,000 apples with it, and now you're going to use this knife to cut these energetic cords, these ties that are keeping you here in your physical body. And she made kind of like a sour face, again, in my mind, when I was relaying this, but I assured her that she was okay. Now, during this time, I was sitting, in physical 3D land. I was sitting about 3 feet away from my grandmother, and she had been non-responsive, asleep, whatever you want to call it, but eyes closed and no movement. And so that's when I started this meditation, the eyes closed, no response. And when I finished giving her these words of encouragement and support, and showing her that she needed to cut these cords that were keeping her in her physical body, I finished the communication message. And when I opened my eyes up, her eyes were wide open, and she was staring right at me. She had full attention. Even though she couldn't speak, I knew she was completely lucid in the moment. And the way that people can communicate with you with your eyes and again, this is a woman I knew my whole entire life and was very close to. Her eyes looked at me like, what the hell did you just do? During my visit back to Missouri, I do this a couple more times with my grandma when I'm alone in her room with her. And each time I start when she has eyes closed, not responsive, asleep. And every time that I finish, I open my eyes and I see her staring directly at me. Now, this is my very first time I've ever tried this. I don't know if it's actually going to work. I don't have the confidence in myself to know like for sure that this is it. And part of it is just, am I just a grieving granddaughter and I just hope that I'm connecting with her and providing her comfort? So the blue housecoat was very important because it's what she wore all the time, and she's always very comfortable in that when she was at home. The other thing that was weird for me is that when I was talking to her, if you've ever played Mario Kart or like a racing game and you keep like, oh, what kind of wheels do I want? What glider do I want? It's like her head kept switching back and forth from when she was about 50, early 60s, and then switching back to when she was like smoking hot and early 20s, like when she had just gotten married. It was almost like she couldn't decide which head she wanted to have, right? She was trying to figure out how she wanted to appear to me, and she just couldn't decide if she wanted to look like a bombshell or like the grandma that I knew. Anyway, I did leave. I went back home to Connecticut. My grandma did pass shortly thereafter, within, I think, the next 10 days. So I just kept that interaction to myself. I didn't tell my family members too much of anything because I had no validation that what I saw or experienced was true. Fast forward 2 months later, I start working with Alyssa Conger. Love her, great psychic medium and a great mentor. So as I'm doing a mentorship with Alyssa, she taps into my grandma and she sees two very important things that I'll share with you in this reading. The very light blue house coat that she's in, and the fact that she can't tell if this is a daughter and a mother. It looks and feels like similar people, but the faces are different. So that was, I about jumped out of my seat when I read that from Alyssa, that she was experiencing my grandmother switching her heads back and forth. So one, my grandma's very indecisive in some ways, so I laughed at the fact that she still couldn't figure out which version of herself she wanted to present. But I did not tell Alyssa about the blue house coat. I did not tell her about the switching heads. And so when you connect with other people with intuitive abilities, they are able to validate some of your own experience as an intuitive yourself. So ever since I received that validation and had that experience, I've leaned more into telepathy. I really enjoy connecting with people with dementia because I know it is hard for them to communicate, or that people think that they are unable to communicate anymore. That's simply not true. I also really enjoy communicating with animals because I can see their reactions and know that we're talking with each other. I have fun stories about that as well. So anyway, that was my first intentional telepathic experience, and yeah, let me know if you've tried or experienced anything similar.